SP.
I'm Jennifer.
And we're part of a 4-team thing, if you will, of Sweet Potato Sensations. We're owners with our parents, Jeffrey and Cassandra Thomas. We have been in business for the last 25 years. We actually, December will be our official 25th year in business, bringing some of the freshest sweet potato products. We started actually in the basement of our kitchen 25 years ago in Rosedale Park, making sweet potato cookies. My father, real quick, my father loved candy yams, and my mom was like, I don't like candy yams on my plate with my food. My mom likes your sweet stuff for dessert and your real food for dinner. She don't want the stuff on the same plate. So of course, you get married to somebody. My dad's like, well, my mama used to make candy yams for me. So it's that whole little, wife and then mother-in-law thing going on. So my mom was like, I'll make you some cookies to shut you up. So she made him some cookies to shut him up, and they were actually good. And so we would give the cookies out. People would try the cookies and everything. Like, these cookies are actually really good. So it's along the same time when Famous Amos and Miss Fields were out doing their cookie thing, and they really booming. So we did a 30-block garage sale, if anybody's familiar, in Rosedale Park. We had 125 bags of cookies that were gone in like an hour and a half. So we were like, my mom was like, And at that time, it was called Mrs. T's Sweet Potato Cookies. So we did some marketing as far as asking questions about the name and the product and what we could change and do better. And from that stemmed Sweet Potato Sensations. And we did work in our basement of our house, which I guess is totally illegal now. You can't, well, the cottage in law, whatever now, but you got to have a commercial kitchen. So we did that. We were in the back of several licensed kitchens. We did the community house and in Rosedale Park too. And then we moved to the old Redford district, which is Grand River and Lost, I'm not familiar with that area, with the Redford Theater. We had a small walk up for 16, 17 years. We just walk straight in, get your pie, and you walk right out. That's it. But it had that real homey, really down south kind of like feel. You could see everything that was happening. You could see my mom cooking and my aunt cooking, and you could see everything happening. And we just really outgrew that space, and we always had a dream to have a cafe as we got older. And we're both into the arts and poetry, and so my mom was like, one day we'll have a cafe, and then you can do your poetry and stuff like that. So 3 years ago, actually 6 years ago, we bought a building across the street from the bakery because we wanted to stay in the community, because people feel like sometimes you have to move outside of Detroit to make beautiful things happen when sometimes the jewels are right there in front of your face. So with Motor City Blightbusters' help, we found a building across the street from our last location, and we took 3 years, Lord have mercy, for us to rehab this building. It was a microfilm processing lab that we actually had small cubby holes. We had to bust it all the way out to the walls and then rebuild it all the way. So we did that, and we've been in that building for 3 years now. And we make sweet potato pies, cookies, cheesecake, cake, ice cream, cobbler, candy yams, baked sweet potatoes, muffins, cupcakes. We have an ice cream parlor. We added an ice cream parlor about 1.5 years ago to accent what we were already doing. We serve soup and sandwiches, black-eyed pea and collard green soup with sweet potato cornbread. We're doing beautiful things over there. So that's us, and we work together. My sister, as she said before, does all the product formulation for every single thing. So anything you taste, got to come through her first, and then we do the preparation, and then I do all the creative marketing and customer relations. So that's us.
So should I leave this up for the rest of the? I know I couldn't handle it if I was where you guys are, so I'm gonna spare you. Okay, so we heard a few stories about how to get started, whether it's cooking out of your basement or the Rachel Lutz model of just do it. We've seen as many entrepreneurs here in the room. Rufus, maybe you can kind of get us started. Give us a tangible, first couple steps. How did you get started? What are some of the kind of main takeaways that these new entrepreneurs should think about to really get started with a new business?
Okay, thanks, Mike. Before I tell you how I got started, oftentimes when we come to lecture panels or I guest speak in various topics like this, and we all talk about our marketing plan. We talk a lot about our business plan, our ideal, our product and service. But there's something that rarely is ever talked about in panels, and this is like what I really love to zero in on, because I think this is a larger issue, a more important issue when you're talking about starting a business of any magnitude, and that is what I call the you factor. One thing that you're going to have in common, no matter what your business ideal is, and no matter what your location is going to be, is you. You're the person that's going to be the common denominator of that particular business. Who are you? What's your temperament? What's your risk level? What's your credit score? What's your assets? And those are the kind of critical core things that I like to have people work on far before they start deciding to go in business. Because oftentimes we can learn these very technical skills and then we just don't have the temperament. We don't have the self-motivation to get up and be there on time. We don't want to render customer service. We don't want to learn the things that we know we need to learn. So oftentimes everybody tells you about what it is to do. But nobody talked about who you need to become. And that is the critical part of starting any business. So if you don't listen to anything that I say or anything that these panel members say, at least come away with that. Who are you and who do you need to become in order to do what you need to do? And have you ever heard Robert Kiyosaki, and that's what he talks about. Now people think about Robert Kiyosaki as talking about real estate, even though he's a real estate guru and I have a strong real estate background. But what he's really talking about is the way that you think. How do you need to train your mind in order to be able to get up when it's cold, when you got flannel sheets on? Those flannel sheets are feeling so good. You know you got to be there at 6 o'clock to make the donuts because the door is open at 10 o'clock. Who do you need to be? For the same person that decides I need to lose 10 pounds. If I need to lose 10 pounds, I got to be to work at 9 a.m. Who do you need to be to get up at 6 o'clock to go to the gym before you go to the work? Not what you need to do, who do you need to be?
Speak.
And that's what we're talking about with business ownership. Who do you need to be? What's your temperament? What's your risk level? How easily are you swayed from defeat and no's and you can't do it, you got poor customer service, you have no inventory, I don't like the way your store looks. Can you handle that? Those are the things that you need to talk about far before you're sitting down to the bank. Now, I know there was some bankers in here earlier, I hope I don't step on anybody's toes. But banks are going to be very, very small in your business development and your level of success. They're going to play a very, very, very small role. A very, very small role, in spite of what they tell you. Because if they told you and do what they say they told you, if I say raise your hand, how many people have ever gotten a bank loan? How many people raise their hand in this room? But the first person we reach out for is bankers to come and talk to us. Banks want deposits. That's what they want. They want your money. And then the next thing they want, the first thing they're going to figure out how they cannot do the deal, because they really don't want to lend money. They want to collect money and lend it in the marketplace. Now, I'm hoping nobody want to jump on me after the meeting, but I'm going to give it to you straight. I'm going to give it to you straight. I didn't have any bank loans. When I started, my entry into business was a number of things. Friends, family. I was like 26, 27 years old. I tried to start a mini mall in Pontiac a number of years ago, about 15 years ago. And it was a beautiful building, but I didn't know anything about real estate. And that's something else I'm going to come back to you. Everything that we do in business has a real estate implication. Remind me, we're going to come back to that. But as a result, I didn't know anything about real estate. I didn't know anything about signing a lease. I didn't know anything about first right of refusal, any of those things I need as a business tool in negotiating with this building who sat there for a number of years. So you got two young guys. One of my partners lived in Pontiac. I live in Detroit, so there's a commute. And I knew in taking on a partner, how can I beat my partner to work every single day? And he lived in Pontiac, I lived in Detroit. That was the first red sign. The other thing is that all along while I was in there developing the building allowed me to do that, or allow us to do that. Knowing we was green, we didn't know anything, putting all this money into everything that we begged, borrowed, and stole to get this building open, all secretly while the hospital behind it was negotiating with the building owner to buy the building. You can't buy this kind of education. This is some good education. First time I cried about business, but it taught me a lot. The other thing is, while that was going on, a new administration had swept into, well, the old administration, when I was up there, says, listen, bring the buildings up because we're going to grandfather all their old codes. So whatever the code was when the building was built, that's the code you're going to go by. Well, the new administration came and swept all that out and said everybody must immediately bring their building up to code in downtown Pontiac. I'm 26 years old, $200,000 to do that. I didn't have that kind of money. Then of course, you know, sent me back home with my tail between my legs. First time I cried about business because I didn't know. So then I began to think who I was. I was languishing in my mother's basement for 2 years. Luckily, I come from a family that a long line of business owners, and I began to know how to rebound. Because one thing about retail, the beauty of retail is that it doesn't take a lot of sales in order for you to make money. So when it's downtime, it allows you to be able to study your craft. And that's what I did. I studied it religiously because I always wanted to do that. Now, I won't tell my life story because we'll probably be here for a few more days. Not that it amounts up to much, but I'm going to cut it short. But I would just like to say is it's all about you. Start developing your business plan and all that later. Deal with the core items of who you are and why you start your business. If you start your business for money, that's going to be a problem. Because you're going to be willing to cut corners, you're going to be willing to do something else. Now, I got a simple philosophy. You don't have to use it, but I'm saying it's a very simple philosophy. It's a lot of money in doing good. So if you want to do good, it's okay to make a lot of money. But if you want to do bad, and you're going to use money to do bad, that's going to be a problem. And what I mean by doing bad, it simply means that you're going to take all the shortcuts. And some of the shortcuts are tempting, and we've all took the shortcuts, and we've all paid for it. But the bottom line is that think about who you are, who you need to talk to, what you need to learn. And above all, if you don't have a 720 credit score, I want to give you an assignment. And his name is Philip Tyrone. It's about a $15 book. It's called Steps to Having a 720 Credit Score. I wish I would have known this 20 years ago, but I know it now, so I'm telling you. Grab that and start working towards that 720 credit score, and then start working on collateral, and we'll discuss that. Philip Tyrone. Philip, and it's spelled Tyrone, is T-I-R-O-N-E. T-I-R-O-N-E is the last name. Tyrone pronounced. And steps to having a 720 credit score. It's less than 30 bucks. But it's gonna be a valuable 30 bucks that you spend. And the reason why that's the magic number, that's the number by which all banks says yes. So I'll pass the mic and hopefully we'll talk about some other stuff.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Well, we do what we do because our parents really created a legacy for us. And I will say, honestly, it's been a struggle. Because when your parents create something for you, it's hard to kind of find yourself. You were saying find yourself within a family-owned, but I'm just going to be real. Because it's difficult. But when you want to see that dream come alive, when I see all that my mother and father have done to contribute to the business and what they have done, there's no other place I can be. I have to do this. And I mean, it's just as simple as that, you know, for me. I mean, it allows me to have, you know, us to have freedom and traveling, doing things that we want to do to, you know, have our separate lives of our own. But to me, I want to have a business in Detroit. And I do this because I like customer service. We give awesome customer service. And I like also the community that we're in for the people to see something different other than a corner store, other than a Metro PCS store, other than something else. You know, when I see kids walk by our bakery and say, wow, in our community, wow, my block, then that makes it all worthwhile. I mean, it's just that simple. I mean, we could be anywhere. People always say, why don't you go to Farmington? Why don't you all move to Southfield? You would get more foot traffic. We would. We definitely would, but it's those small things that make it worthwhile for us to do this. You want to add anything, Jenna?
I agree with my sister. It is hard just to have a business and to have it for so long and to feel like you really don't have a choice sometimes. But I've had a 9-to-5 job and it was cool. But at the end of the day, I do like working with my family. It's not always easy because it's still your family, but
It's your mama and your daddy.
and everybody got different personalities, but it works out. And I like being in the community. I like making the batter. Sometimes this time of the year it gets hectic because of all the orders, and I feel like I have a lot of pressure on me, but it always gets done. We work well together. It's like, I like being in the community. It's rough being in that area right now because of just a lot of the activity that goes on over there, but it's worth it. I can see the big picture, what it could be, what it can be, what it will be.
Okay.